Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Reality Bites. It is Sunday, May the 14th, 2023. I welcome you all today. It is my first video on my Reality Bites channel. I have been on Twitter under Reality Bites. I have been sharing some tarot readings under another channel on YouTube called the Tarot Zoraya Utranaya. And I've decided to launch my Reality Bites channel. So we will be delving into topics such as politics and finance and crypto and other things that I might find interesting that I want to share with you. So on my first video today, we will be delving into the world of crypto, and I hope that you enjoy it. So let me start sharing my screen here, and we'll get into topic number one. All right. So on May the 14th, that's today, right? So this is so this would have been a few days ago, actually, a couple days ago or a few days ago. So Binance decides to leave Canada and is citing regulatory issues related to stable coins and investor limits. Okay. So this is a little bit more complicated than one might think. So let's get into that a little bit. We scroll down a little bit. The world's largest crypto exchange by volume says that it's leaving Canada due to issues with the nation's regulations and stablecoins and investor limits. Okay, so this is their statement. Today, we are announcing that Binance will be joining other prominent crypto businesses in proactively withdrawing from the Canadian marketplace. Unfortunately, new guidance related to stablecoins and investor limits provided to crypto exchanges makes the Canada market no longer tenable for Binance at this time. We put off this decision as long as we could to explore other reasonable avenues to protect our Canadian users, but it has become apparent that there are none. In February, the Canadian Securities Administration, the CSA, created new guidelines indicating that the regulatory body may view stablecoins as securities and or derivatives. Now, this thing happening in the States as well with a Security Exchange Commission. They in the States are not targeting Bitcoin or exchanges. That I think Coinbase has actually been given a Wells notice by the SEC actually due to their selling of Algorand, but the Algorand has not been withdrawn from any exchanges in the States. It's still able to be sold, unlike Ripple's XRP, which is currently in a lawsuit with the SEC, and it has been for the last 2.5 years or so. And I'll get into how much money Ripple has spent on this lawsuit at the end of the video. But so this is interesting. So, the Canadian Securities Administration is now saying that they've created new guidelines and it's a regulatory body that may view stablecoins as a security and derivative. So, cryptocurrency is a new market. A lot of countries do have regulations surrounding it, but the Western countries, especially the United States and Canada, are kind of falling behind in what they are determining to be commodities and or securities, okay, or store value, right? So let's see here. Binance may say it one day might return to Canada once more appropriate regulations are in place. Okay, so that's what the Daily Hodl has reported here. So let's kind of get a different perspective on what is going on here. Okay, so in Reuters, they've reported that in December that the U.S. Justice Department had been investigating Binance since 2018 for possible money laundering and sanction violations. Binance has processed at least $10 billion in payments for criminals and companies seeking to evade U.S. sanctions. Now, this is coming from the U.S., But the US and Canada are kind of intertwined. So perhaps this has something to do with them wanting to leave Canada as well. Okay. And here we say that the US Commodities Future Trading Commission, the CFTC, sued crypto exchange Binance and founder Zhangpeng Zhao, so that's CZ Binance. So he's already been in a legal turmoil for a little bit, and now they're deciding to leave Canada. Okay, so I don't think, let's actually open up a new tab and see here if Binance is still, I believe Binance has not left the US, right? Yeah, so Binance could exit from US partners as SEC cracks. Binance considers pulling back from US partners as crypto crackdown escalates. So, there is a correlation as well. So going back to this, Binance as CZ Binance on allegations the company knowingly offered unregistered crypto derivatives products in the US against federal law. Okay, so there's multiple different kind of perspectives you can take from this. But it's really interesting if you want to see that there is a bromance, or there wasn't a bromance, there's kind of like a feud between SBF and CZ Binance. Look at them both wearing their shirts. They're kind of the same kind of guy, and they're kind of probably doing the same kind of thing. So they're both on the cover of Fortune magazine, the next Warren Buffett, the $74 billion man, and it's all probably the same game that they've been playing. So it's interesting to see that one was caught. The CZ Binance was calling it's like the pot calling the kettle black when SBF got arrested. CZ was throwing lots of shade at him, and now it's coming back to kind of bite him in the ass. So we'll see what happens there. Okay, moving on. We have some states in the US introducing bills to ban cryptocurrencies. Okay, so this is kind of interesting. This is all happening recently in the last week. So we have Texas introducing a bill to ban central bank digital currencies. I'm not going to read the whole article. You can look into that if you like. But I just wanted to kind of show everybody that certain states are saying no to central bank digital currencies. Okay, so we have Texas here. We have North Carolina. That is the House unanimously votes to ban digital dollar payments in that state, sorry. Okay. And then we also have Florida. Now, I believe all of those are red states, which is interesting because you can see here, New York introduces a bill to accept stable coins as payment for bail. So that's kind of interesting, if you ask me. Now, yeah, all right, let's keep going. Now, Bitcoin and Ethereum have been under a little bit of hot water lately because they are not scalable. They have been, the gas fees and the transaction fees have been costing users a lot of money. So even to make a small transaction or small transfer of funds or payments through the Lightning Network, or if you want to make a payment with Bitcoin, it's going to cost you a lot of money. So say you want to transfer $20 in Bitcoin, you can pay a ridiculous amount of money just to, like, that could be almost equaling the $20, if not be costing you more to transfer that money. The same goes with Ethereum. And they're both been backed up lately on their networks and have been taking forever for the payments to go through. So there's been a lot of criticism about this coming from different communities in the crypto sphere. Okay, so it says here, many Bitcoiners Well, let me read the title first. If Bitcoin can't handle a few JPEGs, how can it handle the world? So let's see here. Many Bitcoiners have been up in arms about high fees amidst a surge in new activity on the original blockchain. Fees, which are set dynamically by a competitive bidding process, spiked to a staggering $30.19 for a simple Bitcoin transaction on May the 8th, after hovering around $2 since July of 2021, nearly 2 years. Okay, so I'm going to go down a little bit more. You see here, there is a graph that kind of shows the transaction fee. So this was in May 2021. It was around $25. And then it went down significantly. And now we are back up to around $20 in May of 2023. Okay. And I thought I highlighted something else here. No. I think that's it for this page. Okay, so let's keep going. And then now we have Elon Musk having a little spiel. He was on the Lex Friedman podcast, and he has spoken about some interesting things about Bitcoin and how it really isn't has not been created to be used as a day-to-day payment system. Okay.
Think of money as a database for resource allocation across time and space, and then what system it is, what in what form should that database or data system, what would be most effective? Now there is a fundamental issue with say Bitcoin in its current form, in that the transaction volume is very limited, and the latency the latency for a properly confirmed transaction is too long, much longer than you'd like. So it's actually not great from transaction volume standpoint or latency standpoint. So it is perhaps useful as to solve an aspect of the money database problem, which is a sort of store of wealth or an accounting of relative obligations, I suppose. But it is not useful as a currency, as a day-to-day currency.
Right. So I would agree with that. Let me get this. Okay. All right. So moving on, we now have, what am I doing here? Oh, yes. Okay. So this is an interesting video. So I'm going to get a little conspiracy theorist on you guys a little bit. So, after the 2008 housing bubble and the collapse of the economy, the little bit of a recession that we had there in 2008, that's when the Bitcoin was kind of introduced. Okay. And so there are some pushbacks from countries, right? So like, why would countries adopt some sort of financial store of value if they don't even know who created it, right? So Satoshi Nakamoto is an individual. He's like a legend or a myth, right? That created, no one knows where he is or who he is. And it's like a fake pseudonym, right? To call this person that is Satoshi Nakamoto, who created Bitcoin. And so there has been a lot of speculation across some of the XRP community that Satoshi Nakamoto and Bitcoin is actually been created by the feds or the CIA or the FBI. I think it's the CIA that they say it is, but it is like a distraction to just like the C-19 thing was to test how the population would react to a situation. Okay. And so they introduced this digital currency, this decentralized form of money that was anti-government and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And so it was actually created by them as a test run to see if people would adopt it or be open to it. And it's not meant to stay around forever. And considering that it's a high price now, and that a lot of people they're all bullish towards it, it can wreck a lot of people, right? So they want everyone to have nothing, right? So think about that. So when they are telling you to look over here, right? We see Jim Cramer saying that he's bullish on Bitcoin right now too, right? That you should be looking over here. So keep that in mind. And now, so this next video is, her name is Raina Stroud. She's Assistant Special Agent in charge of Homeland Security Investigations. This is a lady from the Department of Homeland Security. And she's talking about how they actually know who Satoshi Nakamoto is, and that it's actually 4 people. Okay, here we go.
We looked at Bitcoin was the most prevalent at that point. We had seized quite a bit of it, millions of dollars worth under the Silk Road investigation. So one of our agents who started looking at another online marketplace through the deep web, which was called Black Market Reloaded, they were sending weapons through packages and ordering them on the dark web. And he was really, really smart, forward-leaning agent. And he goes, I want to go interview Satoshi Nakamoto. And we're like, what? He said, yeah, I want to go interview this guy. And at the time, we're like, hey, it's a figment of somebody's imagination. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's not true. So, you know, we had all this pushback from our headquarters. And we thought, hey, if an agent wants to go talk to him and we have some money, why don't we send him? Let's find out how this works. So as it came to be, the agents flew out to California and they realized that he wasn't alone in creating this. There were 3 other people, and they sat down and met with them and talked to them to find out how this actually works and what the reason for it was. We looked at Bitcoin was the most prevalent at that point. We had seized quite a bit of it, millions of dollars.
Okay. So that's just interesting, and another little rabbit hole that you guys can go down. All right. So there's that. And this is just another tweet indicating that Ethereum is also having some issues with high fees. So ETH is bordering on unusable right now. So this was on May 11th. So that was a few days ago. For me, transfer $30 from one wallet to another network. Fees are $7 to transfer 30. That's not realistic and not practical. Okay. And like these like Bitcoin maximalists and Ethereum maxis are saying that ETH 2.0 and the Lightning Network are good. No, they're not. And I think in El Salvador as well, like they have adopted Bitcoin as another form of their own national currency. And there's videos of people going to the grocery store and having to wait hours. Like, so they go and pay with their wallet and they have to stand there for hours waiting for the payment to go through. So this is not usable. Okay. So LOL, it's a lot more when there is more activity on the network. It would cost $130 to move $7. I don't know if that's true, but and then so this other person saying I've had $80 in a day stuck. I've had $80 stuck in MetaMask for 2 years. So MetaMask is I believe an exchange as well. Okay. Buy a token on Uniswap, $50 worth. It was going to cost me $25 in fees. All right, so see that there's another example. All right, moving on. Oh yeah, so and comparing that to XRP, on the XRP ledger, money is transferred in less than 3 seconds, and it costs fractions of a penny. So we'll get more into that in a bit. All right, so then we have here, so in the UK, they are having some discussions about the digital pound. So this is interesting to see, that they are going to be limiting how much you can hold. So not only they're going to be limiting how much you can hold, but the CBDCs can be turned off at will by the government, and if they will expire. So if you don't use your money in a certain amount of time, your funds will expire. So this does not allow you to be able to save money to get ahead in life. This is how they keep you down in this pleb area of life. Okay, let's check it out.
So the first few features I'm going to talk about are interest and limits. So in our consultation paper, we lay out that a digital pound would not pay interest. It would be intended as a means of payment, not intended as a savings product, and it wouldn't be intended to enhance the Monetary Policy Committee's toolkit. This isn't seen as a motivation for its introduction. So therefore, we would not use remuneration in order to incentivize uptake. Secondly, there would be a limit on how much users would be able to hold, at least during a digital pound introduction.
A limit on how much users can be able to hold. A limit of 10,000 pounds to 20,000 pounds is proposed. Now, currently in the Eurozone, I think right now have a limit on how much cash they're allowed to use. I'll have to look into that. Hold on. You know what? I will look at that right after this. But I think I played it in my last video about the Shemitah years. Christine Lagarde was talking about it. I'm not sure if it is about the CBDCs or currently how much cash they're allowed. No, it's about if you can use cash to like I think $1,000 or $10,000. Check it out. But if you utilize more, send more, then you can go to jail. Okay, hold on. Well, let's continue this.
A limit of between 10 to 20,000.
You heard her?
20,000 pounds is proposed. This would help to manage risks by constraining deposit output of the banking system during the introductory period. Thirdly, non-UK residents would be able to use digital pounds too, when visiting the UK, for example, as tourists, and when outside the UK for payments with either a UK. So the first few features I'm going to talk about are.
Let me look at that. So let's see. Eurozone, is there a limit of cash? Next week, on March 28th, the European Parliament voted on legislation featuring a range of measures that would severely limit the use of cash, including an upper limit on cash transactions that could be as low as 3,000 euros. If passed, the legislation will restrict personal rights and financial autonomy across the US. So yes, I was right. And here, yeah, I'll look into that a little bit more. But yeah, I remember Christine Lagarde saying that you can get jail time for doing that or a big fine. Okay, so looking back at this, right, the limit on how much you can hold, let's look at the Canadian equivalent of that. So my friend here at War Campaign, now I did actually do a video. I am trying to utilize OBS Studio, and I tried it for the first time. And I was going to do a video going through the survey about the Canadian CBDC, and I did it. But it only recorded my screen. It didn't have a video of me, and the sound was really horrible. So if I'm gonna, I honestly having a hard time with OBS Studio, so I'm gonna need to learn about it a little bit more. And I'm gonna need to get a microphone so the sound sounds better. But I did this and I wanted to do it as a video. I did it as a video and it just was shit. So Rohan did it here. And so I did see that here. I remember that it said here, ability to hold a limited amount of money anonymously, right? So that is the same thing. If I can get this here, as there would be a limit on how much you could hold, and we have ability to hold a limited amount of money anonymously, right? I don't want to be limited to how much money I'm allowed to have, and I don't want it to expire, and I don't want you to tell me what I can spend it on and what I can. And if I don't match your ideology, I don't want you to turn off my money. Okay, so fuck off. All right, let's move on. Still talking about the transition from fiat to CBDCs. Here is what's going on in Nigeria. This is more of a flip the switch
Let me
moment.
bring you up to speed. Folks, today's post is for anybody doubting that central bank digital currencies are definitely a thing and that a cashless future is absolutely imminent. Did you know that Nigeria is basically cashless now and that they have a central bank digital currency?
After a 3-week delay, Nigeria's digital currency is now legal tender.
In October of 2021, the Central Bank of Nigeria announced the e-Naira. Well, after about a year, only 0.5% of Nigerians signed up. Yes, big surprise. Most people don't want a central bank digital currency. They limited the amount of cash that people could withdraw from the banks and ATMs to $44 per week. Now, the average Nigerian needs $40 per day to survive.
Long queues at ATMs and banks nationwide, oftentimes in the middle of the night and up to 7 hours long.
Scenes of destruction are evident at different banks. Some have had their windows smashed and ATM phones damaged.
Still, the tug of war to get cash is a sign that the cashless policy of the CBN is yet to feed into the system.
They banned cash. The government came out in October of 2022 and said that they're no longer accepting the old banknotes. So they said, we're going to give you new banknotes. But then the banks stopped issuing the new ones and people couldn't get the new ones. And then nobody could get any cash anymore. You can't use the old ones and you can't get the new ones.
Cash shortage sparked by the replacement of paper note, a crisis which has left people cashless and has forced businesses to close.
The ATMs are not working. Even when you walk into the bank, they will tell you they are not giving out that money, that they don't have the cash.
The bank are making the new Naira note very difficult for Nigerians to accept.
So what happened? A 60% increase in people who are using CBDCs, because guess what? Children were starting to starve. They starved their own people into adopting central bank digital currency. And so this is a case study. It's a cautionary tale. The world leaders are taking notes on this, and we the people need to take notes on this. Only the American people can stop this, because if the central bank digital currency happens there, it's going to happen everywhere, especially here in Canada. Write a letter to your congressman, your representative, keep the pressure up, keep your eye on this, make sure Congress does not approve the move to a central bank digital currency. And if you don't think that a central bank digital currency and a cashless society, just like Nigeria, isn't coming here.
All right. So that's interesting. So I remember in the survey, it said, oh, you know what, we'll always have cash still available. You know, we don't see it going anywhere, but they need a shock to the system in order for for consumers to alter their behavior. So if they really want to put through this central bank digital currency, they're not going to fade it out incrementally. They're going to do it swiftly. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, so this is happening. No, is it, what month is it? Okay, it's May 14th. Okay, so this is happening in 4 days. So Thursday, May the 8th. There is a hearing notice, a subcommittee on digital assets, financial technology, and inclusion. So there was already a committee meeting about this, I think, last week. And, it's interesting to see because we have two regulatory bodies in states that are kind of fighting over who gets cryptocurrency, right? We have the SEC, the Security Exchange Commission, and we have the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, the CTFC. And they're like, oh, no, I get jurisdiction over this. No, I get jurisdiction over this. These are securities. No, these are commodities. So it's interesting to see so this is a very interesting there was some really good videos that came out of this. I don't have time to go over them today, but maybe I will cover this. If you want me to, let me know if I will cover this hearing when it happens on Thursday. Okay, maybe like the day after, on the weekend or something like that. Okay, so but if you're interested in that, I would definitely watch it. This is really interesting stuff. We're in the beginning of a new financial system, and if you do your research, you can possibly really exponentially change your financial situation, because we are in the midst of history happening right now. Okay. All right, moving on. So on the other end of the spectrum, we have clunky crypto that takes forever and costs too much money. That's not really being adopted across the world. And then we have Ripple XP. I'm going to say I hold XRP. Okay. Ripple is a company that issues XRP, but they have other stuff going on. That's not their main thing. But I hold XRP. I hold XLM as well. I hold a little bit of Algorand. Quant is good. You want to look at coins that have utility. Okay. Not just meme coins or just popular things. For the long-term holder, you want to have and get in early. You want to look at what kind of infrastructure and blockchain capabilities and use cases these crypto and their cryptocurrencies, stable coins, digital assets how they can be used in the new financial system, and how they can make our lives and the world's lives better. Okay. All right, we're almost done. Oh, no, we're not. We're a little bit done. Okay. Okay, so here is a video from Ripple's Twitter. It talks about how Ripple liquidity. So there's a Ripple offers a lot of different things. Okay. And they're partnered with a lot of companies and central banks and banks around the world. And so we're going to look into that a little bit. But here is Ripple's Liquidity Hub is a turnkey liquidity and global payout platform. So they focus on cross-border payments. Okay. Built specifically for enterprise, learn how to seamlessly bridge the new world of digital assets with the traditional world of fiat. So let's check it out. This is not financial advice.
Crypto is here. It's no longer an idea or on the horizon. It's already the reality of how businesses and people trade, move, and manage value. But despite a growing desire by businesses to engage in crypto, integrating digital asset solutions is complex. It often requires cumbersome integrations, has high costs, and involves engaging with fragmented, slow, and costly fiat payout landscape. At Ripple, we built Liquidity Hub to seamlessly bridge the new world of digital assets with the traditional world of fiat. The experience is plug and play, encompassing a single API connection into a breadth of liquidity pools. It offers optimized pricing via smart order routing, and through Ripple's suite of products, best-in-class last-mile fiat payouts into global jurisdictions will be available. Liquidity Hub powers interoperability between crypto and fiat systems, bridging digital assets seamlessly. Partner with Ripple for your crypto liquidity needs today.
So that's a little bit of Ripple's Liquidity Hub. So then we have this. So Mary C. Hall, I believe she is she's product marketing for CBDC product marketing for Ripple. And she's one of the top 10 women in blockchain. But anyways, Every single central bank we talk to talks to us about cross-border payments, says Ripple's James Wallace, speaking at the OMFI-FDMI conference on CBDCs and payments. So every single central bank we talk to, so that must mean that they're talking to a lot of central banks. Well, what is the OMFI-FDMI? Let's take a look. It is the Digital Monetary Institute. So it is a symposium that is talking about the ecosystem about blockchain and finance, okay? The digital future of finance. Now here's another video about this specific situation where James Wallace, the vice president of Ripple X, Central Bank's Engagement in CBDC on May the 10th, 2023 interview. The moderator, James, I always side Ripple with the company that solved these problems. That doesn't really make sense. But anyways, all right, let's play this. It's a good clip.
James, I always cite Ripple as a company that's solved a lot of these problems that the public sector are now starting to look at in more detail. So I'd love to hear from you, what are some of the lessons learned from RippleNet and company at large that can address some of these problems?
Yeah, thanks, Katie Ann, and thanks for the opportunity to join the panel here. It's been looking forward to this one. No, I think we have solved some of those problems. For those of you that don't know, Ripple, one of our main products is something called RippleNet. It's a cross-border payment system. We're operating with customers in about 55 countries, and we have payout channels into about 70 countries globally. It's evolved over time. And Ripple's is about a 10-year-old company now. The use cases have evolved from remittances and then adding in to treasury payments, to cross-border wholesale payments. The big breakthrough that we saw, though, is we were trying to do a better. Frankly, this is not a surprise to people. We were trying to do at the time a better version of Swift, right? So faster, cheaper, more transparency, instant settlement. We've sort of moved on from that, and we think the opportunities, is much broader, including obviously on the retail side, and also Swift doesn't operate in every country.
So Swift is a messaging system. So it's not a payment system. It's it's about 50 years old. And so when you want to make a payment cross-border or across the world, the bank will send a message to another institution saying that they should be expecting, this bank to send this money, and it can get the payments can get lost for a significant amount of time. It takes forever, and sometimes people lose money during these transactions. So it is an outdated system. They did upgrade. Their upgrade of Swift is currently happening. It's called ISO 20022, and Ripple's part of it. There are some cryptocurrencies that kind of coincide and work with the upgrade, but RippleNet and the XRP ledger are aimed at replacing Swift because it can be used as a messaging system, and also an instant payment. So they don't only send the message, the payment is made in seconds.
Right. So I guess two things that we did. One was from the very start, we introduced some standards, so we follow ISO 20022. It's the right number, I think. And you're absolutely right. The implementation of that does vary around the place. So it's not a consistent standard. And the other breakthrough we had was with something called on-demand liquidity. So this is where we use a native digital asset, a crypto, XRP, as a bridge currency between the sending country and the receiving country. We call it on-demand liquidity because the way the model works is it negates the need to have pre-funded Nostro accounts in the destination country. So you essentially, you take your US dollar, you convert it with our help into XRP, you then send it to Mexico, for example, to convert it to Mexican pesos. And that's all done in a matter of seconds, right? And it's very low cost, very transparent. I really love the work the FSB has done. And I think, you know, where we're at now is we think we have solved a lot of these problems, but we'd love to collaborate, right, and work together collectively. We don't see ourselves as a disruptor. We see ourselves as building new capabilities that we really think the value is when you bring that mainstream. You know, we have this vision of what we call the Internet of Value, which is really to look at all forms of movement of value and try and make those as efficient and fast as possible. So the analogy we use is it's like sending an email, right, or some information across the internet is very simple now. A payment is less simple.
So I'm going to stop right there. So there has been terminology around the crypto space about Web3. Okay. So this is what he's talking about here. So, we had the Internet of Information as Web 1, social internet or social media adoption as Web 2, and now as Web 3, we have the Internet of Value. And this is what Ripple is bringing to the sphere. Okay. They're bringing to the world to cross-border payments as what email did to communication. Okay. Now, if you also see at the top there, it says Onyx. That is JP Morgan's version of RippleNet. So obviously the banks are fighting back on this. Okay. And this is probably why the SEC is fighting and stalling for so long with this Ripple case that's been going on for 2.5 years about whether XRP is a security or not. This wouldn't be lasting so long. And I just think that they're stalling, and a lot of the community thinks that they're stalling because they want to make something that can be used. The bankers obviously don't want to lose their power, right? So Onyx by JP Morgan is their equivalent to RippleNet, but it's not as scalable and adoptable. It's not anywhere close. So you have to utilize JPM coin, and the way that it works. Brad Gollinghurst, the CEO of Ripple, there's a video of him explaining how JP Morgan's Onyx would work, and it's a joke. So that's for another day.
So that's I think what I would say on that. We'd love to get into more of the discussion, but we do have a lot of beneficiaries of what we've built. And if anyone in the room wants to learn more about it, we'd love to chat.
And I like the Internet of Value. I think people want instantaneous payments, like they want messages or texts, and something that we should all look towards. Victoria, you also work.
Great. All right. Moving on. Probably a long video. So this is a nice visual of the Internet of Value. Okay. And how the on-demand liquidity works. Okay, so we have XRP in the middle. It is an intermediary currency, a world reserve currency. Okay, and so this enables countries not to have to hold other countries' currencies in order to facilitate payments. Okay, so you have $1 that starts up at the top. You want to transfer it to a peso. You would make this payment on an XRP ledger. It would convert the dollar to XRP, and then the XRP would be converted to the peso. So, and it could happen like that, right? So that is the on-demand liquidity, and that could happen for any currency around the world. And I think they're even looking to utilize this with commodities such as gold and silver as well. Okay, moving on. So the BIS, so the Bank of International Settlements, they have Project Polaris. This is something, it's a long video. Where am I at right here? I don't even know how long I've been recording for, but you know what? We're going to just keep going. We're almost done. Okay, so we have the Bank of International Settlements. They've just released Project Polaris. So this is showing you how much work is being done around the world about CBDCs. Like, this stuff is happening. We're not being told all the information about this. Okay, so Project Polaris is and these CBDCs don't need the internet. That's probably not gonna, they're gonna sell it, right? Like, oh, cyber attacks aren't gonna affect your money, right? So, but yeah, okay, let's and then I'll show you the document that you can look into if you are interested in it, okay?
In our fast-moving, hyper-connected world, the way we use money to make payments and do business is changing. Many countries are increasingly relying on digital online payment systems instead of cash. But our growing dependency on these online systems can affect our ability to pay when they become unavailable due to system outages, cyber attacks, or even natural disasters. Being able to make payments when offline could provide a solution. An offline payment is a payment between two parties which are not connected to a ledger system. The ability to make offline payments when systems are unavailable could improve the resilience of payment systems and provide backup during a crisis. Offline payments could also enable financial inclusion wherever internet and telecommunications connections are unreliable or non-existent. And some solutions could provide digital payment alternatives for those who can't use mainstream options. Offline payment solutions could extend some of the features of using cash into the digital space, giving people more choice. Project Polaris from the BIS Innovation Hub Nordic Centre investigates the design of secure and resilient online and offline central bank digital currencies, starting with a focus on offline payments using CBDCs. In a global survey conducted as part of this project, the ability to pay with CBDC when offline.
There's a survey. They've done surveys all around the world about this. Interesting.
Is important to many central banks. The project helps central banks to understand the range of reasons and usage scenarios, the technologies available and the security considerations, key threats, risks, and risk mitigating measures, privacy, inclusion, and resilience design principles, the design and architecture considerations, operational and change management issues. Implementing offline payments will be complex with very...
Right, yes, that's it. If you're interested in that, let me close it. You can, actually, I have this next. So this is actually the document. If you're interested in reading it, it is 119 pages long. I'm not going to get through it, but this is about the Bank of International Settlement Project Polaris, a handbook for offline payments with CBDC May 2023. So it was just released. Okay. So if you're interested in that, you can go to the bis.org/pub/OTHP64.pdf. Okay. All right, moving on. Now we have another, so cryptocurrencies being adopted in Africa as well. We're almost done. One example of, so Mr. Man XRP says, one example of this is Ripple's cryptocurrency XRP and its cross-border payment network for hundreds of financial institutions globally. XRP can bridge two local fiat currencies on either side of a cross-border transaction within 3 seconds. So we've already covered this. So this is cryptocurrency in Africa, alternative opportunities for advancing the sustainable development goals. Where have we seen that before? I think that Microsoft's boss has something to do with that. All right, what's highlighted here? The ability to make payments through cryptocurrency in as little as seconds enables more rapid movement of money along the supply chain among buyers, shipping companies, sellers, etc. As MSMEs in cross-border trade can then have faster access to finance from banks and other financial institutions for securing liquidity for business. One example of this is Ripple's cryptocurrency XRP and its cross-border payment network for hundreds of financial institutions globally. XRP can bridge two local fiat currencies on either side of a cross-border transaction. So that little image and that, you know, that I'm for, XRP can bridge 2 local fiat currencies on either side of a cross-border transaction within 3 seconds at a small cost for financial institutions. Okay, if you're interested in that, you can look into that a little bit more. But I'm going to keep moving on. And it's the United Nations Development Program, the cryptocurrency in Africa, which makes you question what the real motivation of that is, considering they want to, a lot of African countries are trying to adopt a gold-backed digital currency. So I don't think that the UN wants that. But all right, so if you want that, it's under undp.org, okay? Moving on, Ripple is expanding into the UAE and Dubai. So the leader of Ripple, the leader of enterprise blockchain and crypto solutions, is expanding its presence in Dubai with a new office in Dubai International Finance Center. Okay, so in Dubai, they're welcoming this new technology and new industry, and they are very clear with what their regulations are. And because they want to be, like, a lot of countries are wanting to be the hub of this new kind of financial system and new innovation, right? But in the States is kind of being idiots. And a lot of companies are leaving the States. And lastly, so I just wanted to end here with how much. So the Ripple has been in a lawsuit with the SEC. The SEC has taken other companies to sue them. I don't remember off the top of my head what another one was, but a lot of companies can't afford to stick it out with the SEC. So Ripple has spent, once the court will be done, they will have spent over $200 million on this. So if they didn't believe in what they're doing, do you think they would spend this much money, $200 million on a court case to fight that they're not a security? I don't think so. Okay, so let me stop sharing. All right, so the sun is now setting. I was up when I started, so this must be a long video. I can't really see how long I have been recording, but nonetheless, I think this was a good video. I hope you all enjoyed it. And thank you for watching my first video of Reality Bites and joining me for this crypto information session on what happened in the last week. See you next time. Bye.